Hello and welcome to another VRTK tutorial video. In this video we're going to show how we can have our AxisMove working along with teleporting as well, and being able to teleport over geometry and also be able to use the teleporter to snap us to the floor rather than falling with physics. Please consider becoming a VRTK patron. There are plenty of membership levels to sign up at, and it really helps to fund these videos. So we're in the scene where we've got our PseudoBody set up, the AxisMove set up, our PseudoBody jumping and the AxisMove speed boost. And what we're going to do now is show how we can use all those functionalities along with the teleporter. So in the previous video we showed how to use the teleporter and how to set that up. So I've just brought those objects into this scene. So we've got a teleporter instant and we've got a curved pointer that can activate our teleporter, that in this regard is activated just using the primary button on our right controller because we're using the thumbstick to do our AxisMove. We could set up extra logic so we can use our thumbstick to do our teleporter when that's turned on, and when it's turned off and our AxisMove is turned on, then that can work there. But to keep this simple, we're just going to separate the buttons. And I've just created a simple lever as well that we've created in a previous video that allows us to toggle between either the AxisMove if the lever's pulled over here, or the teleporter if the lever's pulled over here, or if the lever's left in the middle. It gives us the ability to use AxisMove and teleport at the same time. Now we're going to go through a few things that we need to do to set this up to get it to work correctly together. The first thing we need to do is make sure the teleporter's snap to floor isn't seeing the collider of the PseudoBody. Otherwise the teleporter is going to constantly try and snap on top of the PseudoBody and just create an infinite loop. So we need to make sure that our PseudoBody is being ignored by our teleporter's snap to floor. And the easiest way to do that is put our PseudoBody on a new layer. So we're going to create a layer for PseudoBody by going to the layer drop down and then just clicking add layer, and we'll create a new layer, and I'll just call this PseudoBody. And then if we go back to our PseudoBody and then select layer, we should see PseudoBody in there, and I can select that. It will say, do we want to add this layer to all the children? And we do, so let's just click yes, change children. And now all we need to do is go to our teleporter, and if we open our teleporter up and then look at the snap to floor, inside snap to floor there is this custom physics caster. And that's what's doing the raycast of this snap to floor. And by default, it's just set to ignore the layers, ignore raycast. But we also want it to ignore our PseudoBody layer. So if we select here, we can see PseudoBody shows up in there as well. We just need to select that. That will then show it's ignoring raycast layers and the PseudoBody layer, which is what we want. The next thing we need to fix is when we do teleport, what will happen if we teleport over some geometry, our PseudoBody won't be able to pass through that geometry. As we've seen in the past, our character controller can't pass through geometry. But if we're teleporting over geometry, such as we're making a jump or something, we want that to actually be able to teleport our PseudoBody past that geometry. So we can fix that as well quite easily by going to our teleporter. And then on the teleported event, we're going to add another listener. And when we have teleported, all we're going to do is go and grab our PseudoBody, drag and drop it into there. And then the function in the PseudoBody facade is snap to source. What that will do is whenever we teleport, when we've finished teleporting and our position has been updated, that will just tell our character controller from our PseudoBody to update to the position where we've teleported to, so we won't get stuck behind any geometry. And because we are using the snap to floor setting in our teleporter, what that will mean is instead of the PseudoBody pulling us down to the ground and us free falling, it will teleport us down to the nearest ground. And that can be useful if people do suffer from motion sickness or nausea through playing VR games. Instead of actually having them physically fall, which can cause a bit of discomfort, you can nicely teleport them down to the lowest floor. To get this working, we need to just update our snap to floor again. So if we look in our snap to floor logic and then just go into internal, and then if we look in the snap to floor logic within there, we've got this one called move target to found floor. All we want to do is the same thing on here. So on move target to found floor, after that transform is updated, we want to add another listener. And again, grab, drag and drop our PseudoBody, and the function again in the PseudoBody facade is just to snap to source. And we can collapse this back up. And we also need to be aware of, because we've also got jumping turned on, what would happen there is if we jumped, it would immediately snap us down to the floor. We don't want that to occur, so let's go and fix that as well. So to do that on our PseudoBody, we've got this jumped event, and in the jumped event, what we're going to do is add another listener. And then in our teleporter, in snap to floor, there's this pause snapping and resume snapping. So when we jump, we just want to pause snapping. So we're just going to drag and drop that down there. And then in the function, we go to empty event proxy emitter and we call receive. And then we need to resume snapping when we've landed from our jump. So in became grounded, we're going to add another listener there. And again, we're going to call resume snapping this time. And then in the function, empty event proxy emitter, and again, call receive. And there we go, we've now set it up so if we jump, it will turn off the ability for our teleporter to snap us to the floor, so we can still do a jump. And then when we touch the floor back from our jump, it will turn snapping on. So if we were to walk off a ledge or something, it's not going to just make us fall all the way down. It will teleport us nicely to the floor. So let's jump into the scene and we can see this working. So we're in the scene and we've still got our AxisMove working as before. Because our lever is in the middle, if I was to hold down my button, we can see we get our pointer cursor, and releasing causes me to teleport, so I can still teleport around the scene. And if I was to teleport over the wall, we can see we pass right through the wall. I can still turn around using my AxisMove, and then we could teleport up the ramp to the top. And then if we get near to the edge of the ramp, rather than falling off now, what will happen is we'll nicely just teleport straight down to the floor. And that helps with motion sickness for people that don't like to be thrown around a scene in VR. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Leave any likes, dislikes, comments down below. Please consider becoming a VRTK patron, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.